actually super excited about today's video. I'm gonna be taking you guys through a day in my life pumping at work. I'm not sure why I'm so excited because I feel like it's gonna be a little boring, but I am just hoping that some of you guys feel encouraged if you guys are about to go back to work soon and are nervous about pumping at work. I remember first going back to work and just being so nervous about a pumping schedule, not knowing if I was gonna have enough time to do everything. So I am super grateful because I feel like since I work in the NICU, a lot of people here know obviously the value of breast milk and how important it is for babies, and so everyone is very, very supportive of pumping moms. And so usually at work I pump 3 times in a 12-hour shift. So this morning I pumped around 6. It is currently about 9:30. And also the nice thing about pumping here at the hospital is that they let us use their hospital grade pumps, which they are so nice. If you guys struggle with pumping with your regular pump at home, I would look into renting a hospital grade pump because seriously it makes a huge difference. I usually pump into my glass bottle and then I just pour whatever is in this one into this container. So this makes it super, super convenient because I can just give Boston milk straight from the bottle whenever I get home. So in the NICU, we have care times every 3 hours. The first care time is usually around 8, 8:30, and 9, depending on if you have 2 or 3 patients. So usually I can go pump right after I finish that care time. So it usually ends up being around 9:30 or 10. And then the second time I pump is usually after the second care time, which is around 11, 11:30, 12. So I'll go sometime between 1 and 2-ish. And then the last time I will usually try to go around 4, 4:30-ish. And then I breastfeed Boston whenever I get home from work. So that is a typical day. Boston usually wakes up in the morning around 5 to nurse, and then I will pump whatever is left. And usually that's when I get the most milk. And then the second pump at work, I usually get a decent amount as well. And then it kind of gets less and less throughout the day. Right now I'm producing just about as much as he would need, but in the beginning I was definitely an oversupplier. So we have a good amount of stock in the freezer, but now whenever I pump, he just takes whatever I give him and eats snacks and meals and does all of that stuff. So it's a little bit different now than when he strictly just breastfed and bottle fed. But even during that time, I was pumping during the same times at work. Also, whenever I pump, I always eat something because whenever you are breastfeeding and pumping, you are just literally starving all the time. I feel like I'm thirsty or hungry, or I don't know, I'm just ravenous literally all the time. It's 9:30 in the morning and I'm already having like a lunch dinner meal, bison and zucchini stir fry. So I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna pump, and then, but before I go, if you guys don't know the hack, I'm gonna tell you. With the Medela pump, you can connect the narrow neck bottles to them. So I have Dr. Brown's and Even Flows. Both of them are narrow necked, and you can connect it directly onto the Medela pump parts. But with the Spectra, I think only wide neck bottles can connect to those. So I got an adapter that will connect directly to the bottle. And then before, when I was pumping into bags to store them in for the freezer, they were the Laniso. It's like a purple bag. I can put a picture of it right here, but those were the bags that I used. They lay down nice and flat in the freezer, which is so nice. And yeah, I haven't used any of those for a while because we hardly store any milk anymore. But It's really convenient just being able to pump it directly into the bottle and giving it to him, because I feel like when you pump it into one bottle and then transfer it to another one, it doesn't get all the fat that sticks to the bottles. So I like doing it this way a little bit better. But anyway, I'm gonna pump, gonna eat, and I will see you guys during the next session. Hello you guys, it is currently 2 o'clock. I am pumping a little bit late this time. I got a little sidetracked. My next care time is actually not until 2:30, so I should be okay. And this round really shouldn't take very long, because usually my afternoon pumps, for some reason, I really don't get as much milk as I do earlier in the day. I honestly can't remember if I mentioned this earlier, but the biggest reason I wanted to make this video is so I could encourage other moms that are going back to work soon. I just remember feeling so anxious right before heading back to work and not knowing what it would look like pumping at work, but it honestly has been so much better than I expected. And I feel like once you get into a good routine and have good people around you, that makes a huge difference. I feel like most of the people that I work with are super understanding and super kind, and they are happy to help out whenever I need it. If you are also a nurse, you guys know that whenever you go do anything, you have to have somebody else watching your patients, or else obviously you can't leave them unattended. So at first I definitely felt bad asking for help, but I almost feel like asking for help makes other people feel more included and makes other people feel useful. I don't know, I feel like everyone is always so quick to help. But I will say, on the days that we are not as well staffed, it definitely gets a little bit harder, or the days that there's random little things that are happening, like a septic workup, or you know, somebody's placing a central line, or if you have to take a patient somewhere. I feel like days like that get a little bit crazy. But I will say, the nice thing about the NICU is that most things are pretty predictable. Everything is on a pretty regimented schedule, which I really like, and it makes it really easy to plan out your day, plan out when you're gonna pump. Anyway, I'm not eating this time because one of the doctors brought in some cookies, which is so nice. And then this morning I already had the zucchini stir fry, so I'm really not hungry. I might grab a couple snacks, but I probably won't eat until my last nursing session. Hello, it is my last pump of the day. It is 4:30 right now, so a little bit earlier than what I wanted to, but I have a couple things I need to do for my patient later, so I am going to get a little bit of an early start. I feel like I've gotten super relaxed with when I pump. As long as it's every couple hours, I really don't care when it is. Since I've been doing this for quite a long time now, I feel like my body is used to it and knows exactly how much Boston needs. And so I really don't worry too much about timing, as long as it's 3 times at work. I honestly might drop to twice a day soon, just because our hope and desire is to have another baby soon. So I feel like it would be better to slowly wean him off of the milk rather than potentially getting pregnant and then my supply dropping a ton and then him being super confused by all of it. So we will see what happens and what God has in store, but I definitely feel like he needs to be eating more solids than he is, and he is pretty reliant on breastfeeding, and I'm really glad I can do it for him right now, because he's getting his 1-year molars and he's definitely breastfeeding for comfort right now, which I'm super happy I can provide that for him and super grateful that I can even do that. I love it, but at the same time I feel like at some point we're gonna have to wean him, so that makes me sad, but it's gotta happen at some point. I am also gonna have an early dinner. This is the chili that we made last night. This is what we're working with. Sometimes it's really nice to have dinner while I'm here because then once I get home I can just get ready for bed and then go to bed early, especially if I have to work the next day, because I am just exhausted by the time I get home. The last thing I want to think about is making myself something for dinner. I usually get home from my shift around 8, and usually Chad will get Boston ready for bed and then I'll nurse him and then we'll put him down around 9. And we've always kind of done this. We've always tried to get him on a later sleep schedule so that I can see him at least for a little bit before he goes to bed at night. So I'm really grateful. He has adapted to that schedule really well. He usually will just go to bed around 8:30 or 9, and he's pretty flexible too. So sometimes he won't even go to bed until 9:30 and he still sleeps fine. So I am super, super grateful that he is such a good sleeper. He wasn't always a good sleeper. We actually did have to do some sleep training, and I will probably make a whole nother video on our sleep journey and sleep training and co-sleeping, all of those things. Anyway, I'm just gonna finish eating my chili, finish pumping, and I think that's it. Hopefully this was helpful for some of you moms that are curious what it looks like to go back to work and pump. I'm sure it'll be harder for anybody that's going into a space that's not as nursing friendly. I'm really grateful because my unit has 2 lactation rooms, so there's lots of moms that work here, and there's 2 rooms, but we always have extra pumps in our supply room, so we can always bring that to the break room to pump. It's not as private, but it's still really nice to have that option, and I feel like not a lot of places have that. So I am super, super grateful that I work somewhere where they value breastfeeding moms so much. I do have a couple of friends that own the Willow and the LV, the hand-free pumps, and they really like them. So if any of you guys are concerned about pumping at work and being nervous about finding the time, I feel like the hands-free pumps would be a really good option for you. And I also know that the Mom Cozy ones are actually really, really good too. But one of my friends here actually has the Willow, and that one hardly makes any noises. I feel like I can't even tell when she's pumping. I feel like she can chart or do whatever she needs to do, and she can pump at the same time, which is super nice. Anyway, I think I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.